Hello and welcome to the QuantWheel user guide for 2026 summer edition. And I'm your host, Ivan, the creator of QuantWheel. This guide is going to be split into two different kinds of videos. The first one is just general problems that QuantWheel solves and practical solutions that help you in your day-to-day trading. Very, very simple, straight to the point. The second part of this course is going to be detailed explanations and deep dives into how QuantWheel actually works. So if you're interested in either of these, take a look on your site and you'll probably see different sections. So also we'll split this into two different paths. Similar as QuantWheel, it works for both day traders and people who sell premium for income and basically wheelers. So you'll also probably have two different paths, GEX and or day trading and wheeling or premium collection. In the future, you will also join and add a path for agentic options and usage of AI in your day-to-day trading. So before we dive into it, if you're watching on the YouTube, there will be more and more and more examples added to this library. So subscribe to this video and to this channel. So uh, before I go into depth in all of these sections, I just want to share how QuantWheel started in 2024. I was trading options for 6 years at that time and found myself spending too much time analyzing options, spending time on trying to calculate my cost basis, and I wasn't able to go away from the screen. There would be some kind of a crash and I would miss a roll. So that's exactly how QuantWheel started. And then later, Luca joined in the first, he was actually the first user of QuantWheel, and he was a founder of TradeLocker. So this is not our first rodeo. TradeLocker grew extremely fast into basically 500,000 active monthly users in the Forex space. I myself, I was an engineering manager at Microsoft, probably one of the youngest at 27, and then also in MongoDB. Both are publicly traded companies. I've managed a lot of secure data for one of the biggest companies. So hopefully that reassures you that we take security and privacy very seriously here as well. We partner with a lot of brokers, as you've seen, and um, we have a community that has grown over the time, and people who have been with Quantil for over a year reported on average 40% of their returns. By the way, none of this here in this video or the course is a financial advice. I'm just trying to explain here how this works and how I use it in my personal trading and investments. For the wheel trader, QuantWheel solves three of the most prominent issues. The first one is just the time and commitment to journal your trades and calculate cost basis for your wheels. We'll go more into depth on later. The second one is just missing trades constantly. I feel like before QuantWheel, I was constantly glued to the screen, or I would miss on the trades. And the third one is just when you sit down, how do you best analyze what to do with your positions? So the goal is not to give you advice, but to limit your time so that you do better with a lot less time investment. So first one of these is the first problem. When to calculate the cost basis, it takes so much time. Basically, you could potentially enter a wheel through cash secure puts that has been rolled a few times, and then you get a sign, then you start selling covered calls, then maybe you sell some portion of that wheel, and then you continue with the other portion, and then it just becomes so messy. Um, and I will show you soon in the actual portion by going into my personal QuantWheel account and showing you step by step how does QuantWheel actually solve it. So let's start with one of my positions on Hesai. They're a LiDAR provider. I don't mind getting assigned on that company. I do think it has a good potential, but it doesn't matter here. Uh, First that it actually shows me before we dive into the wheel is how much premium I've collected and my cost basis. You can see here clearly there's a green dot that shows the current stock price, and my wheel cost basis is currently below it, so that's why the button is green. On my some of my other wheels, for example, RGTU, I'm way above the cost basis, so that's why it's red. So if I click into Hesai, you can see it tracked my cash secure put initially, and then it figured out I rolled it and naturally lowered down my cost basis And if you want to see it in more details, you can see here I first sold cash secure puts, then rolled them from 15 to 12.5 strike price. So how it calculates those cost bases, basically it sums up all the premiums and the roll cost and calculates the new cost basis right here. Also, with cash secure puts, as you're very familiar, if you start to roll them, your broker will only show you the P&L for the current position. It does not show you what the overall wheel cycle is currently trading at. So as you can see, QuantWheel solves that. It shows you clearly this contract is in the positive, but if I close it out now, I would actually be in the negative on the full wheel. Here you can clearly see that my break even for a whole wheel will be $1.86 per contract, and the current one is 2.08. So I needed to drop 20 cents more in order to be in the green for the whole wheel. And I do have a cushion here. My break even of the actual stock price dropping and getting assigned would be $6 less than it currently is trading for. So I'm just going to wait here, and I have no doubts about it. If you are trading the wheel, you know just calculating these two numbers is extremely, extremely annoying. And how did we get into this number, 1.86? Basically, it's simply what you would do in your journal is you would track. Initially, you sold the first cash secure put for 76 cents. Then you rolled it. Okay, I had two different rolls for different contracts, but let's say I lost 40 cents, but I gained 2.5 dollars per contract. Sorry, $2.25, and then overall, basically, I need to make sure that this difference is accounted for. So here I lost 40 cents on the contract, and I need to make sure that when I close this last contract, I make up for those 40 cents lost. So naturally, 2.25 minus 40 cents ends up around 1.86. That's how we get to that number for cash secure puts. Let's go into some of my covered calls. Similar story. Let's take a look at Mara, for example. This one is a very, very messy thing. As you can see here, it went up, down, all around, many cash secure puts, assigned contracts, covered calls, rolling of the covered calls, and so on. The tricky part here is I've started with 3 contracts, then I managed to get out on some of them, and now I'm left with uh, one contract here. And then I actually sold covered calls on that one contract. So even though that one contract of my covered call is in the positive, the overall wheel, because of the assignment and closing some of them, is in the negative. So for me, it clearly says that if I close this particular contract, I would be capturing a lot of my profits, but the overall wheel will be slightly negative. So that's exactly the suggestions here it gives you. Moving on to the second problem is missing trades. Here you can see potential actions that I could take on some of my positions. It works for all kinds of positions, including my idle cash. It can suggest me that I could earn extra monthly income by selling covered calls. We'll go into that slightly later. And for example, for Hesai, it will notify me in my email or Discord and soon in my SMS and phone calls that I could be capturing some gains here, and I'm very, very efficient on this particular Hesai cash secure put. So if you want to modify these suggestions, you can click them and get to the alert settings here, but we can get to that in the more details section down below. Next, let's go into the problem of missing trades when I'm actually, there's a stock I like, it's potentially dropping, and I should sell cash secure puts. Here we have a option screener with watch lists. You can create your own. You can create your own watch list. There's a button here to manage them. You can just take a look at the tickers you like as well, and different strategies. So I'm focused on the cash secure puts right now with options filters, technical filters, and company detailed filters such as market cap. Once I set up my options filters, for example, here I already have yearly 30% at minimum, and at max, delta being 0.22, on my watch list, I can just save it as a saved search that's basically going to alert me, and I can just enable the alerts for both email and Discord and gate it by the minimum rating. So I don't get alerted on anything that goes through here, but basically only the things I like. I already have this saved search, and you can manage them simply in your saved search column. If you're new here and you just want to explore, there are some of the predefined and popular searches, and popular searches from the community you can explore here as well. If this is too much info, you just want to make sure, like, okay, I'm new to this whole game of option selling. We do have predefined strategies that change the whole experience of QuantWheel. I personally do like the steady income one. It gives good suggestions. Wheeler as well. Uh, some of them are more conservative, roll less, and just focus on quality stocks. Some of them, like Premium Hunter, will be super aggressive, get in, get out kind of style of play. So you can use this as a template to see how QuantWheel behaves in different kind of settings. I do recommend, though, once you are set and once you understand it, you go with a custom and create your own alerts on both the entry and on the position alerts. So there are two different kinds of alerts here. One is to basically find deals, and you manage them here. This is basically entering a new trade with your cash. And in your active wheels, you have position alerts that you can manage in this section. We manage it here both for if you want to get alerts on the split. Let's say a stock is undergoing a split, and then you have a cash secure put. You know how difficult it becomes to exit those chains that become basically illiquid. You can get alerted when your positions are expiring soon, when you have covered calls that match your criteria based on the break even. So basically, we monitor your whole wheel, and if there is a covered call that annualized gives you more than 15% or whatever you set it here, uh, if there is such a covered call above your break even, you'll get alerted in your email or Discord. Um, and as you can see, a lot of early close alerts. Let's say you enter a position and it suddenly goes up in the P&L and you still have 100 days in days to expiry, it might be smart to close them for a quick profit and redeploy your cash. You can modify those settings here as well based on the efficiency ratio or profit. I can go into more details as well later. The crucial thing here is, for me personally, roll alerts. When a stock crashes, IV explodes, and rolling is the perfect time, like as you are entering the in the money in the current contract, and IV spikes, rolling positions becomes a perfect opportunity here. So you can set alerts basically on the positions DTE, extended days DTE. If the underlying moves more than, let's say, 1 or 2 or 5%, I have it currently set at 5, maybe 2 is actually better. And if like your yearly ROI on those rolls is greater than 12%, you'll get alerted. That's honestly very amazing thing that I use almost regularly. So in the role section is we are coming into the problem of analyzing your current positions and um, how quant will save you time in understanding them. So let's say I personally have around 90 positions. How do I focus my attention and see what should I roll? I just come here to roll section, and the first thing I scan is whether there's any potential rolls that will give me more than 15% annualized yield. And I can clearly see this here. If I roll circle CSP from 55 to 50, I'll collect $300 extra credit for annualized 18%. And then if I want to go deep and compare this to all the other options, I get all the rolls with calculated yearly annualized basically yields, and I can sort them by whatever metric I want. I can filter them by whether I want bid and ask, basically bid of one option and ask from other option, if I want only to roll out of money options, and I can filter them by, let's say, days extended, or just a yearly annualized yield if I want it to be more than 15%, it's going to spit out all the different options that I can quickly compare in one table. If you roll options regularly, you know how much of an effort this is and how much time it's going to save you. Similarly for the covered calls as well, I just get a list of all of my uncovered positions, and I can quickly scan which of them can give me a decent yield on my at my break-even point. So for example, the TTD is one leap I currently have, and as you can see, I bought two to open. I managed to close one for on this kind of up run here when the price went up, but then it started crashing on me. So I'm considering selling covered calls, and QuantWheel is correctly identifying this for me. I did not notice this in my Fidelity, that I could get 20% yearly on my position. So I can just click, give me all the covered calls that are um, above my cost basis, and I quickly get them in just one click, and then I can sort them by yearly yield, for example, and there are even more better deals that give me 30% annualized on, let's say, August, and will provide with a great return. If you want to analyze every single strike in more depth, it comes with a very nice overlay of GEX. So you will see where the call walls, for example, are, and you can quickly decide whether it pays off to sell it at this particular strike. There might be a call wall aligned with it as well. I particularly like this setup and will consider it on Monday. You can analyze them as well with our AI, which brings me into the second part of the analyzing your positions with QuantWheel. The cool part about it is just using whatever you see in the screen, you can ask questions about it. So for example, in the roll section, I can ask our AI, hey, whether I should roll my circle CSP. And it's going to understand everything I have. It's going to understand my cost basis, my strike prices, my preferences, and analyze all the possible rolls, as you can see them here, and give me a summary. I don't rely on AI on its own, but sometimes it gives you great ideas that you just don't think of by yourself. Classic example is in the second part of this course when we analyze day trading using Gamma, Vana, and Charm plus flows for different kind of liquid stocks. And then it basically summarizes whether rolling would make sense or not. I personally do not like capital being deployed for long. I like to close early and redeploy it. I think it's much more efficient, but some people have different preferences, and that's exactly why we don't give you prescriptions. It's up to you to make your decisions, but it saves you time. You can ask it anything about anything you see, even in your active wheels. It understands your whole portfolio. Speaking of the portfolio, last thing I also like about QuantWheel is gives me exposure analysis into my positions. So by just trading a lot of options, I sometimes get overexposed, and I can quickly come here and say that I have 30K exposure in silver from these positions. And these are all basically long exposures, and I might need to hedge them. So this is a very nice overlay as well. So this is basically a summary of how QuantWheel helps you with three of the most common problems on the wheel: saving time while calculating cost basis, making sure you never miss a trade, including rolls, finding new deals, and just spending less time when you analyze your positions and to achieve better results. For the next video, we'll dive deep into every single feature of this wheel workflow and make sure you don't miss it. Thank you for watching this first part of the series.